Hi everyone, my name is Adrian Sugandhi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sonicboom Indonesia, and I'm here to explain and just share a little bit of what Sonicboom is and what we are doing. Our theme for the day is called New Technology with New Human Mobility Experience. Our focus is on enhancing worker productivity, contact tracing, cash advance payment, or we call it in Indonesia kasbon, or asset management. So there's a primary focus of some challenges that we are that we are seeing here in Indonesia landscape in for business owners, manufacturers, and operators. The first one of the main problem is we call it time corruption or wasting time. And then, so what it translates is worker productivity cannot be measured properly. So everything that we do is always based on a gut feeling. And then when they have to use a proper equipment such as PPE, such as safety equipment, it's very hard to enforce. And resource planning for workers and then to manage unused space, it will become very tough because there is no data available whatsoever currently. And so and then we can get the analytics for our heat map and density, and at the end of the day there will be a lack of employee satisfaction because we cannot measure properly of what the employees are doing. In return, the employers itself cannot give them a fair performance of what they're doing. And then one of the challenges that we see about time is the productivity. In our internal survey, we are about losing about 1 billion rupiah. That translates about about 100,000 US dollars per year, when under the assumption of one place or one area having about 200 workers working with them, because due to the time wasting and time productivity, because we simply don't have way to measure them. So at the end of the day, because of that, us as in Indonesia, we are one of the lowest in terms of workers productivity among the Southeast Asia, or we call it ASEAN. And then we are trying and strive to change that for the better. Also, employee satisfaction. It's something that is always overlooked in Indonesia, because this is something that we don't pay much attention with, because there are so many challenges when we are looking into them. One of them is HR, or on the finance department challenges, because the time is just simply cannot be managed. The times simply cannot be measured. And then at the end of the day, reporting will be an issue. Everything is manual, paper based. So the impact is the HR team just simply cannot get us the correct data. And and also there's a culture issue in with us in our we call it the blue collar workers. So the detecting a proper employee clock in and clock out, as simple as that, it's becoming a challenge, because there's a lot of buddy clock in. So when you ask your friend to clock in for you, due to there's so many flaws in the system that we are looking in the market. And then so that is something that we are challenged to solve. And at the end of the day, when there is some issue going on, loyalty will become a challenge. So it simply is the turnover of the employees becomes really high due to the many factors. And one of the most primary factor is that what we call is a cash advancement. So at the end of the day, the workers expect there is something that is very simple. As an HR and finance department, as the workers, they want to see their performance. They need support. They need attention. And then and most of the time, due to the low minimum wage that we are having right now in the country, so their spending are sometimes, most of the times, are bigger than what they are making. Sometimes they have no very limited savings, because of just simply it's just the income is borderline, basically, with their expenses, due to the rising prices. So at the end of the day, when they need something urgent, they turn into loan sharks, or online lending, such as P2P. And at the end of the day, when once they cannot pay, they are slapped with a high interest, and at the end of the day they cannot pay, and they have to, um, they're they are very lacking. They are very confused on where to go, to make up their loans. And at the end and also due to the pandemic, they need social distancing measures somehow to avoid clusters, because there's have been so many cases in Indonesia, that where the clusters happen in a certain area, because the due to the lack of disciplines in wearing masks, and physical distancing. So we try to solve that system. We try to solve that problem. So this is the solutions that we are proposing. Um, our technology, we have an app, and also it's an IoT base. We combine those. It's there's a few features that we offer to business owners, or operators. The first one is attendance. So it's as simple as, you can have a you can it's an attendant base, where you, based on the hyper local proximity attendance, where you can quickly clock in and clock out, without having a long queue or a long line. So that can result in a lot a cluster. And then we measure productivity. We do manpower planning. Also, we do enforcement when when there is operating procedures that they require to wear safety protocols, or PPE equipments, or they need to check in at a certain place. So we enforce that. Contact tracings, of course, if there's something happen, we have a measure mitigation on how to trace and measure and monitor if in case of there's pandemic. And then also a presence. So we look at each employees in real time, their dwelling time and their productivity, within the working hours. So managers can assess their performance. So this is the technology that we developed. It's a proprietary technology where we develop an IoT. It's basically a sensors. It's a homemade sensors. It's synchronized. The sensors can be meshed. It talks to different sensors within the proximity, within a space, and then we measure distance, and then we open that as an open SDK and open API for anyone that can use it. And then we patent also communication technology, using sound, which is fast and reliable. It's enterprise grade, and it applies on multiple use cases, and it's very device agnostic, because we only require a mic and speakers to work, which is one of the protocols that we use to monitor workers. So there are four products that we offer, which is worker mobility, which it includes attendance, access control, and contact tracing. And then we do a hyper-local task experience, which we make sure that we can efficiently assign tasks on different places, very targeted. So which the closest one will get the appropriate task, and then we also monitor asset. And then at the end of the day, a Sonic Worker cash bond, that means it's a cash advance, a feature that we offer for better performance employees or workers. So the first one, it's mobility data. It's an attendance and it's an access, attendance and access. So what we do is each worker has an app they can bring, or they also have a wearable IoT that we developed, that they can wear, and they are trackable and have a multiple access everywhere without any touch. And then they are being and we can make sure that they are being tracked at all times when they're working. So this is crucial, basically, to understand the behavior, to understand the productivity, so it can provide more accurate, personalized, and better services for the workers, and also a better report for the managers and also for the business owners. Also, it works for visitors. When somebody visits, we can track them. We can tell their journey and access control in a several area that is probably restricted, or probably it's not, or it's open or free for public. This is some of the example that we do on the on the warehouse. Basically, we measures the movement of somebody from one zone to another zone. So we are measuring and grading their productivity, or their effectiveness moving around, because time, when there is a lot of loads, or a lot of volume of items that coming and going inside a warehouse, they need a very exact or fast and efficient ways to fulfill the orders. So we make sure that all the personnels are following the SOPs, and following the most efficient way, and improve along the way. Also PPE, as I mentioned earlier, safety helmets, body harness, and vests. They need to wear it. We can detect if they're not. Basically, we put the sensors can detect them, so we make sure that they are wearing it at all times. Most of the time is when for insurance purposes, when there is an injury happen, for claiming for insurance claim, we are able to prove that this during the incident, the proper equipments are being followed, being worn, and the proper procedures are being followed. So these are some of the items that we have. We have an ID card, we have a tag, we have a wearable, and it's very easy to use, and usually each employee at least wear one for them to be tracked. So this is the samples of what we have. It's an ID card, and then it's a tag. We can also have a tag that can be included in the safety helmet, for example. So or the safety equipment that needs to be tracked. This is one of the examples of movement that we track. So if you can look at the red dots, basically we can tell that's everyone it's at one place. So this is very a good example of what physical distancing needs to be enforced, where the hyperlocal security guards can be deployed quickly for them to get spread around, and to make sure that they are not they're implementing physical distancing for everyone, and then we can track their movement basically and their journey along the way. This is the what we do when one of the example is when this person move around the office, or move around the campus. They are being tracked. They know where they're going. So this is the movement 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically we can track them where they move and what they're doing within an area of, like, for example, a working hour. And then this is the detailed data that we can show where and which. So it's also can be used for contact tracing when there's a case somebody happened, so we can contact trace them properly if they are having a close contact or not with somebody that is probably positive during this pandemic. This mentioned it before, worker hyperlocal. So like a security guards, the closest one, they need to disperse physical distancing. So we can find the closest one and deploy them as quickly as possible. This is the same one. We ask some of the security guards. We can ask them to turn off the AC so that we don't have to waste energy, for example. And there's so many things that use case that can be done within the large area. So we don't have to. It's very efficient. We don't have to look around for other places and spend more time to do it. This is we track assets as well. High value assets is usually needs to be tracked. So we place we place our sensors or our receiver in the items, excavators, trucks within the campus, laptops, any high value assets. We can track them easily within the compound. It's very so it can be easily trackable. And the last one is for performance. We call it the CAS Advanced features. This features is specifically being used for giving when an employee is asked needs culturally, and it's very typical for workers to ask for CAS Advanced in Indonesia. So the one of the typical case that the employer seems to care is to provide them with the features of providing them with the cash advance payment. Initially, what happened is it's very tough for the employers or for the HR to determine if this person or this worker is worthy to get how much cash advance based on their performance, because there's none. So what we do is through the data that we provide them on the tracking to the productivity, or we can actually assess the right amount of cash advance and the right amount of the right amount of cash that they can give out. There's one of the factors is how productive and how good they are working. So and this is what we have. It's a no interest type. It's basically it's a perks that the employers are giving out to their employees. So it's clear and open system, and it's based on performance. This is how it works. Basically, it's company fund that we manage. So this is one of the use case that they are in some of our clients is one of them is attendance. There's one of the clients that have thousands of workers that needs to check in simultaneously without giving them crowd, because crowd is quite dangerous now during this pandemic. So we and also wasting time if they have to get their fingerprint checked in at any time, or once at one person at a time. So what we do is actually we install each person wears our wearable, or they have an app they installed. Once they cross the gate, it's being checked in automatically, and it's massive. We can check in as many as possible. That saves a lot of time. Also, one of the use case is inside the bus. So some employers provide them with the bus to transportation from point A to the workplace and back. So when they're in the bus, they are being calculated as already checked in for work. So we can provide them for our clients to do it. So it's very quick, it's very efficient, it's time saving. And when we multiply that with thousands of workers, that is a very large and significant cost saving for them. At the gate, it's the same case, and then also the intrusion detection. Basically, if we find someone that is not authorized in a certain place, that we can get alert. The security guys can get push notification alert warning system, so that when they detect someone that is not supposed to be there. So I think that's all from us from Sonicboom. Thank you for watching. I hope this explains a little bit what we do. So a little bit about what Sonicboom is. Our tagline is measuring human mobility, where we are a human mobility data experts, and we analyze people or behavior for commercial area and workers. Thank you for listening. I